Now, we talked about the planning function of management, the organizing function, but let's get to the leading function. Leading is a combination of two things, leading and motivate. Leading the process of influencing people to work toward a common goal and motivating, giving people reasons to work in the best interest of the organization. Notice leading is the easy part. I want to be very clear. Leading is the easy part. It's just pointing at the goal. Motivation is the hard part, keeping people happy all along the way. Imagine going on a road trip with your family, with your little brothers and sisters if you have them, and imagine how long it takes for people to get on each other's nerves. Literally 3 minutes before it's like, don't touch me, get your hands off me, mama, daddy, all that kind of stuff. So imagine the same thing with older people, and that's what you're going to have in your organization. This person get paid more than me, so how do I do this? I don't want to work. If that's how they're doing it, they didn't give me the day off I want, so now my motivation is up. And your job is to keep people at the same motivational level, even though people have all these different things in their mind. Now, what makes it more difficult? Because you're asking people to embrace change. Do people want to change? Remember, we talked about that. Nope, people don't want to change. But now I'm telling you that your main job is to get people to want to change and motivating them to continually change, even though that may mean in some cases I have to do something that's completely uncomfortable for me. Now, is that difficult? Yes. Do you have to do it? Yes. There are 3 different types of leadership: autocratic, democratic, and free reign. Autocratic leadership is about making decisions where final authority rests upon you. Final authority rests upon you. Look in the book for the whole definition, but generally speaking, autocratic, you make decisions on your own. Second is democratic, where you consult with your staff, but still final authority rests in the leader. So democratic, you consult other people, but final authority rests with you. Free reign is when you completely trust them to make the right decision. In the sense, you give them an objective. This is what needs to be done. We need it done by Friday. You don't even talk to them again about it because you just trust that they're going to do it. Can all 3 styles of leadership work? Yes, they can. That's the key. All 3 styles can work, but they only work with the right person, I should say. They only work with the right person. So what does that mean? Autocratic works well with uneducated, unexperienced workers, where you have to walk them through and talk them through each situation. This works in the fast food. They don't want your ideas. They just want you to do what you're told to do. Things that are what routine tasks, you can use autocratic because you don't need a lot of insight from your workers. Democratic, you want to use when you are working with other people you need their creativity, you need their input. They're your boots on the ground, as it were, in the sense that they are the ones that can give you insight as to how you should handle a situation. Lastly is what we call free reign. These are experts. These are literally experts where you can just completely trust them. Think about consulting. People you bring in, tell them to accomplish a task for you. That's how you handle it. Does time have a factor in these 3? Yes, you can. If you have time, you can be democratic. But if you're in a rush, usually you're going to go the autocratic route, even when you have educated people. Make sure you be able to delineate between which employees work best based on time, based on education, all those types of things, based on the style of leadership. Now, when you talk about controlling is a little different. Controlling is about making sure whatever you start, you finish, and adjusting to achieve a better result in the future. You got that? Making sure whatever you start, you finish, and adjusting to make sure whatever you finish, you can do better the next time. So there are 5 steps in the controlling process. Number 1, establishing standards. You got to know what goal you're going after, what objective you're trying to achieve. This is key. You have to know the standard. Then be able to monitor employees. Once you've told them this is the standard, this is what is expected, this is when I need it, then you monitor and control performance. Then you look at their performance and compare that to what you were expecting. You communicate that to them, and then lastly, take corrective action. Change whatever needs to be done. Notice how we're saying this word change. Notice how we're saying this word change. Notice how we're saying this word change. Because that is so very important. You have to always seek to improve. This is how your reputation becomes better. This is how you fight back the competition, because you're always talking about improvement. Remember, we talked at the beginning of class, difference between being just familiar. You want to be consistent. You're not trying to be familiar. You want to be consistent. And what happens is a lot of times when you're familiar, you don't take employees through evaluations and things of that nature, make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do. You just simply trust that they're going to do it. What am I saying? Communication, not assumption, analysis. All these themes, I hope, are starting to come back to you, and why it's important, because this is the main decision that you have to make. So all of this ties with motivation, this concept of motivation, keeping people, and the book uses the term engaged. Only 3 out of 10 employees will be completely engaged. Engaged means this concept of making sure they are really happy. They literally are happy with their jobs. They're happy with what they're trying to do. And usually the book will tell you there are 2 types of workers in the world. Generally speaking, there are some other types as well, but I'm going to focus on these 2. There are theory X workers and theory Y workers. Theory X workers, very, very simply, they hate working. They're there for the check. They're not going to give anything extra. They're not going to take on any responsibility. You have to threaten them to get them to do right. You have to threaten to take away their money. These are not the people you want working for you. What do you want? You want theory Y workers. How do I remember this? I remember theory Y. Yes. You need yes workers. Why? You need yes workers. Yes workers. People who like showing up for work. People who are imaginative. People who are creative. People who like to be empowered. People who like projects. People who want to work hard on something to make sure that they do a good job. That's important, because what you don't want is for people to mentally check out, because when people mentally check out, they stop contributing. That's called loss of intellectual capital. Then it starts to affect other people. Now nobody wants to work with them because of the way they're acting, the way they're looking, the way they show up to work. Then it causes stress, because now instead of serving the customer, guess what you're doing? You're fighting amongst the workers. Then you deal with lower customer service, and when you have bad customer service, it starts to affect your reputation. You have to be mindful. You have to be mindful of this. Why? That means you would rather somebody quit than be completely unengaged at work. Think about dating someone who no longer wants you. How fun is the relationship? How fun are the dates? They aren't fun at all. You would rather just get rid of the person. Why? Because they're not even helping, right? So you want to make sure you're mindful of that. So try your very best to keep people engaged. You want the theory Y. You want your yes workers. You don't want X workers, because those are the ones that would kill your organization. Any questions? Let me know. Well, really don't let me know. Read the book and you'll get the rest. Now, how do you keep people engaged? Very simply, tell people thank you. Notice communication again. Tell people thank you. Give feedback. Ask them for ideas. The more you keep them informed of what's going on, things are changing. Don't just throw change at people. Remember their birthdays, right? Continually train them. Remember to always communicate with your eyes. Watch their behavior. When you see something wrong, step up to it. Make sure that you are doing everything you can to make sure that you get the best out of your workers. And when you're getting your best out of your workers, your company will be the best it can be. All right. Talk to you later. Holla.